I'm so scared right now. I don't know what to do. It all started a few days ago. Now I'm sitting alone in my basement praying to God whatever is outside will just turn around and leave me alone. On July 25th, I accessed the deep web for the first time after downloading the Tor browser and just toying with the idea, but being far too much of a pansy to actually go through with it. On that day, though I manned up and went for it, I finally got on. I avoided clicking on anything that didn't have a description on a list of websites, eventually going on to the hidden wiki because it provided a little more information on what I would be clicking on. I only read, I'd never clicked on anything out of the fear of what would happen. That is, of course, until I came across a website advertising hitman services. I would never, ever hire a hitman for any reason, but I thought to myself that there was no way that this was a real thing. I went ahead and clicked the link and read through the website, reading the prices for different services. Beatings, killings, made to look like suicide, murder, an accident, maiming. So many options for so many different types of people. I got a little frightened and I minimized the browser, closing my laptop and moving on with my day. When I got home later that evening, I powered my laptop back up and did typical teenager things. Music downloading, Reddit, Facebook, you know. Eventually I passed out and I didn't hear my laptop hit the carpet or anything. The next day I just went on with my regular schedule, never even looking at my laptop, until the 28th. So yesterday. I opened Tor again in the afternoon and let my curiosity get the best of me. I opened it to full screen, which earned me a warning about how it could possibly make me easier to track down. Not sure how, since my IP address is in Stockholm and I'm nowhere near there, but I shrugged it off and I just kept scrolling through this wiki. I got curious again and went back to the Hitman site, but it was gone. I've checked the listings and everything. The website is just completely gone. A little freaked out but not really worried, I moved on back to regular internet. This brings us to now. I was about to settle down and go to bed when I heard something very unnerving. The crickets and frogs were almost completely silent. I live in the country, and the crickets and frogs around my house are wickedly loud at night, but they were very good for sounds coming in through my window. I sat still and listened for about an hour, and they slowly began to get louder and louder, so I assumed that the danger was gone. Now fully awake, I pulled up my laptop, feeling a little anxious because of the warnings I got while browsing the deep web yesterday. In the past 5 minutes, a few things have happened. First, my Tor browser was open and running, even though I had closed it. Second, my webcam was on. Third, the crickets and frogs aren't going anymore, and someone is gently tapping on my bedroom door. My basement bedroom door. The threat never left. The threat just somehow moved inside my house. I'm typing this from my phone in my closet, trying desperately not to lose my mind. I'm trapped, guys. I don't know what's happening. Please, help me. I need to buy myself off of the deep web before someone else does. I don't know how much time I have. I saw the offer hours ago. The only thing I can really tell you now is how I happened upon myself. It's stupid, really. Really, really, really fucking stupid. I was trying to impress my friends. We were all enrolled in IT classes at our school. We would take turns seeing who could bring up the most fucked up shit they could find. It started out with showing our friends websites on the deep web where people could buy drugs from. Drugs we never even heard of. That got boring really quick. Other friends began upping their content, to try to stand out in the game of, I'm more tech savvy than you. They would bring more and pictures, each more disgusting than the gruesome ones that we saw last. Pictures of people dying, people being tortured in unimaginable ways, people that were already dead. One person brought up a really messed up site, a specific site. Instead of people saying exactly how fucked up this was, and how it should all just stop, and how this should have never happened in the first place, they congratulated her, gave her pats on the back. They literally asked her how she could even sit properly in her chair because of how big her balls were. I felt like vomiting from it. I felt like beating the ever-living shit out of every single person that couldn't believe how fucked up it was. Finding a site like this on the internet as an accomplishment. Who the fuck does that? I didn't say anything though. They began to notice that, and I had never shown anything myself. A specific word slowly became my nickname at school. School became a living hell for me. My friends began shoving these horrible pictures in my face whenever they could. When I cried and vomited, they claimed that they were just desensitizing me. Everything became too much though. I promised myself I wouldn't venture too deep, that I would only stay long enough to find something to appease them. At this point, we were long past the point of finding cool drugs or what else. I knew that I had to find something that would hold importance. At this point, I had been on the deep web for 3 hours. 5 hours was what it took to put an offer on me on the deep web. At one point, I remember opening a seemingly blank page. Immediately, the light next to my computer camera flashed briefly. 5 or so seconds. I immediately minimized my browser to close photo booth, only to find that it wasn't even open. I didn't think anything of it. I was tired and had school the next day, so I closed everything down and went to sleep. The next few days went the same as the last, until yesterday. When I walked in, everyone was huddled around one desk, talking in hushed voices. A few of the girls were crying, and all of them were pale and covered in sweat. I really didn't want to see whatever had caused this reaction. Nobody had noticed that I walked in until after class had started. I caught several of them staring at me during class. They had probably planned a new way to make me go home sobbing. I tried to leave class as quick as I could, but one of them caught me by the shoulder and spun me around. "We need to talk." His voice was quivering, and his clammy, trembling hands were soaking through my t-shirt. He led me to the back of the classroom where the other students in the same shape as him were, or possibly worse. They were all huddled in the corner. He began passing out pictures. When it was my turn, I told them I didn't want to see whatever they had. "No, you need to see this." Something about the way that he said it. It told me that he was serious, and it wasn't just regular bullying. I cracked open one eye. I saw a girl on the paper, along with some short description and a price. I opened my eyes further, and I saw that the ad was of some sort. I thought, oh, this isn't that bad. It hadn't fully hit me yet, until I read what was in the description. The description said, "Hi, it's me again, back with some more for you guys. This one looks fairly young, with a bit extra weight on her. I don't know. Need to get more pictures. I think it was her first time here. She wasn't protected at all. It was so easy. Enough about that though. For now, her starting price is $118,000. It will go up or down when we get more pictures and do the physical inspection. Anyways, we'll keep you updated." It was a picture of me, staring at my computer intently. I had no social media. The only pictures of me were the ones that I had taken with the group. There were so many emotions swirling through me. One that stood above was confusion. The crippling fear was lurking in the shadows for now. How had this person gotten a picture of me? My mind went back to when the light on my camera turned on. One question answered. Next was the paralyzing fear that had set in. I felt my heart stop completely, then beat violently in my throat and ears. My stomach had dropped. My eyes searched furiously over the paper for any information about me. I felt relieved at the fact that my full name, along with my address, wasn't there. That all came crashing down when I realized that the person that had posted the ad had these, but chose not to put them in the description in case anybody wanted to grab me without paying. I knew without a doubt that the others were going to be sold too. I passed out and woke up in the nurse's office, who told me that I had a fever. My mom picked me up and took me home. I went straight to my room and locked the door. I haven't touched my personal computer since. I put tape on the phone camera as well, even though I know my efforts are futile. Everything I hear now is someone is out to get me. The only sick thing that confronts me now is that the pretty bitches that made me do this in the first place are going to sell quicker than me. I got his private message earlier yesterday morning. He saw my comment on his post and he came to me with some guidance. He seemed troubled by his wording had somehow turned into an advertisement for the shadow web, as we call it. At first I thought him as delusional. There are dozens of messages and message boards that are just dedicated to the deep web. Even a couple of subreddits right here on Reddit. And still this fellow is acting like he solely is responsible for leaking the deep web. I assured him that people were just playing along like they always do, and he need not to worry about it. Then he tried to correct me. He insisted that the shadow web is not the deep web, nor is it the dark web. It's something far more sinister. He said that it was way more fucked up. Later in the evening, he gave me his phone number. He told me to send him a text if I wanted to be proven wrong. And with that, our volley of private messages ended. A quick reverse lookup showed that the area code was from a place called Valleyfield, Quebec. That's in Canada. It looked perfectly harmless, so I sent him a text. He replied in a couple of minutes. What he sent back was an MMS with a picture of a piece of paper, the one that the creepy customer had supposedly given him. The first thing that I noticed about the slip was the font type. It looked as though it was printed directly from Notepad. I guess that this person who gave him this slip had been carrying it around so that he could access the shadow web from public computers or cyber cafes. He probably had the steps memorized at one point and no longer needed it. The second thing that I noticed was the steps were, in fact, not accessing the deep web or the dark web. At least not a dark web that I'm familiar with. It took about 45 minutes to locate the specific build of Netscape Navigator, curiously required for getting into the shadow web gate. I found a torrent for it on one of the deep web forums where I frequently lurked. It came with a Trojan horse, unsurprisingly, but I still installed it anyway. Whoever tries to backdoor my machine would regret ever trying, I can promise you that. At least I was concerned to the fabled gateway, and to my surprise, I was wrong. This wasn't just the deep web / dark web after all, and he had every reason to be worried. Let me try to explain in layman's term. If the deep web was the bad neighborhood in your town, the dark web would be its haunted house, that abandoned mansion at the end of one-way roads with no street lamps. This shadow web then would be the windowless cellar at the end of the passage behind the hidden door in that very haunted house. Before I go on, I want to clear something up. When I left the comment on the original post, I mentioned that I frequently visited the dark web, and somebody left a comment calling me a monster. I'm not. I don't go on there to look for scam victims or to dispute kitty stuff. I go there to find the people that do. My line of work prohibits me from elaborating, so I leave the rest for your imagination. After stopping by a few of these sites, actually spending the whole day on this shadow web, I finally began to appreciate the gravity of this revelation. I'll spare you the details, but suffice to say I have never been more convinced that cryptocurrency should be outlawed. I came across one particular site called rumcake.sh.web, and from first glance it resembled one described as Kinluck's post. Then I saw that site was merely one of the dozens in that network of these just torture rooms that broadcast to people. I called him back on the number that he had messaged me on. I just wanted to tell him he was right. This was true, and he did the right thing, and the information that he had provided may end up saving lots of lives. But he didn't pick up. It's pretty late in Quebec. I suppose he could be sleeping. The more I looked into it, the more I realized that this wasn't something I could just tackle on my own. I needed to tell my superior about this. Since it was almost 3 a.m., I hesitated to call her. Yet I was just too excited to let this go until the morning. So I sent her an IM, telling her about the big fish that I needed her help on reeling up. She immediately responded with, "Call." The conversation that ensued was rather shocking. In short, our agency did know about the existence of the shadow web, but no leads ever turned up about it actually. Until now, that is. Kinluck's post on No Sleep had violated the shadow web's code of silence. On top of that, he was careless enough to use his regular Reddit account. There are probably some people who are probably very upset with his expose on the shadow web. From what I was told, his life is in danger. Being somewhat of a rookie at this organization, I've been advised to stay out of this investigation. My boss warned I might end up with the crosshairs on my head if I didn't take proper measurements to conceal myself. It's 5 a.m. now, and I still haven't heard back from him. I really hope he's okay. One more thing before I log off. For those of you who have tried to get on the dark web or the shadow web after seeing yesterday's post, I strongly recommend that you just disconnect your microphones and cover up your webcams. Don't even charge your cell phones with a USB port. Most importantly, don't ever try connecting again. Now, before you leave the video, I just wanted to say thanks for watching and I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did and you would love to see more of these, make sure to let me know down in the comments section. Personally, I really do like these a lot. I don't know why, it's just very fascinating to me. So if you possibly have a deep web story, or you know somebody or something, make sure to send me an email about your story and everything like that. The link is in my bio. So are my Twitter, Instagram, and everything like that. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're new to this channel and you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe. We're doing nothing but growing. But other than that, stay safe, stay scary, and I'll see you in the next one. Don't use the dark web, obviously. Okay, bye.